Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine.
Okay, here we are for another episode of Welsh Yogi Podcast. So, unfortunately, Ryan Rupert's not here. We got me, Gopal, Peter,
Hello.
Ben, Baby Ben, because we've got two Bens in the party. So, baby, say hello, Baby Ben.
Hello.
And then you got, what do you call the other Ben?
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Hello.
And Gauranga Gopal.
Hey.
Okay, so we're all travelling at the minute. We're on our way to Manchester. We have a nice little programme over the weekend. We're going to talk about book distribution and the like, and also hopefully do another podcast up there. So we've been reading, so this is a different episode, we've been reading the Light of the Bhagavata, right?
Yeah.
And we read the first 6 verses yesterday, but since we're doing the podcast, maybe we can start with the preface. Well, Baby Ben, do you want to start reading the preface?
Yes.
This is Light of the Bhagavata. It's a new book that we've got to distribute. If anyone wants a copy, get in touch.
So, this is a preface. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder-Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, who has delivered the light of the Bhagavata to the whole world. We are pleased to present for His pleasure the publication of His sublime work, Light of the Bhagavata. Of all His Divine Grace's writings, this book is perhaps the most unique. It was written in Vrindavan in 1961 in response to an invitation to attend a world conference, the Congress for Cultivating the Human Spirit, held in Japan. As most of the participants to the conference were from East Asia, Srila Prabhupada considered deeply how he could best present the timeless teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam suitable to people from that part of the world. The original Bhagavatam was written over 5,000 years ago as an extremely large book composed of 18,000 verses. Participants to the conference would not have the time to hear it at all.
Hear it all.
He therefore chose one chapter from the original version for presentation. The chapter he selected was a description of the autumn season in Vrindavan, the place of Lord Krishna's appearance. Srila Prabhupada knew that East Asians were very fond of hearing descriptions of nature, and at the time of the autumn season...
If there are any East Asians listening, please write in and let us know if that's true, if you are fond of hearing descriptions of nature.
It's particularly auspicious to them.
Do you have any East Asians come to the temple?
I think so. Is Thailand in East Asia?
Yeah. Thailand.
Is it?
Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, yeah.
Is it?
George.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
George, if you're listening. Well, next time we see George, we can just start describing scenes of nature. And he'd love it, apparently. Sorry,
It's very auspicious, actually. Then. Presenting spiritual philosophy by examples from nature would be best for their understanding. For each seasonal phenomenon, how do you say it? Phenomenon. A parallel teaching could be given. For example, the dark cloudy evening of the rainy autumn season, when no stars are visible, is compared to the present materialistic, godless civilization, when the bright stars of the Bhagavat's wisdom, the devotees and scriptures, are temporarily obscured. Although Srila Prabhupada composed 48 commentaries to go along with the verses of the chapter, altogether, Srila Prabhupada composed 48 commentaries to go along with the verses of the chapter. Srila Prabhupada's plan was that the organizers of the conference should find a qualified Chinese artist to illustrate each verse, and he wrote directions from which the artist could design each painting. He hoped that the paintings and their accompanying explanations would make an impressive display for visitors to the conference. If possible, he wished that there might be published a book containing the illustrations and the texts.
I mean, that's interesting, because if you've got in this book, like, in the book is all these beautiful illustrations by a Chinese artist, because as it goes on to explain, it's got done, but I mean, that would be, say like, you know, when T Krishna's open, you have that exhibition space.
Mm.
You know, to have these like really have these paintings printed off in like huge, like real nice canvases, and make like a little display akin to what, you know, you imagine Prabhupada would originally do at the display of this conference type thing. Would be quite a cool little project, wouldn't it?
Like an art gallery.
Yeah.
Like an art gallery.
Or even like a Rath Yatra, like a tent for its displayed or something.
Mm. Have loads of music and stuff.
Loads of music.
Yeah.
The artist is called Madame Yun Shang Lin. Just so we acknowledge it. Huh?
Yeah, it mentions it now in the purpose. Isn't it? So
Yeah.
Shall I carry on?
Yeah. Okay.
Due to unfortunate circumstances, Srila Prabhupada was unable to attend the conference, and the whole project of Light of the Bhagavata was postponed. In fact, at the time of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, the Light of the Bhagavata still remained unpublished and the illustrations not yet painted.
Have you read this book, Ben?
Yeah,
Yeah, you've read this book.
but every book I read before I joined the ashram, I can't really remember much.
You read this book before you joined the ashram?
Yeah, Prema's place has one.
Oh.
The task of completing this great project was therefore left in the hands of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, the publishing house dedicated to keeping all of Srila Prabhupada's books in print. Particularly the work was assigned to the Hong Kong branch of the Book Trust, since Srila Prabhupada had meant the book especially for the people of East Asia. After much searching, it was our good fortune to secure the help of the renowned artist, Madame Yun Sheng Li, whose mature creative talent and sensitive brushwork alone could properly complement Prabhupada's beautiful descriptions of the autumn season. Undoubtedly, this collection presents the culmination of her long distinguished career as one of the great artists of modern China. Her
Gongbi
Gongbi
style of painting. That's like that cool. This is that cool sort of like Chinese style. And
her Gongbi style of painting.
if Backroot was listening, there's a few tattoo ideas in his painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hasn't he got the clouds?
He's got some clouds.
He's got the clouds from.
Oh, I
that
see.
background,
Yeah.
I think he should get the waterfall.
Yeah.
On the back.
Her Gongbi style of painting together with Srila Prabhupada's poetic descriptions, which appear alongside, make for a unique blending of the world's two oldest cultural traditions, India and China. Thus, the beautifully effulgent light of the Bhagavata may now shine upon the world. The publisher.
That's cool. Like India and China. Like they're just such like, what's the word? Antiquitous, like civilizations, aren't they? Like ancient civilizations. India and China. They're both really cool. Like, you know, and to put them together is like.
Yeah, they've got this like vast spiritual culture in both of them, don't they? And like ancient heritage and amazing temples and stuff. Yeah.
Have you been to China?
No.
Have been to China?
I've been there for 6 hours.
Oh, on the way to
I was-
India or something.
I went out to Beijing, and I went in the park, and everyone was like they were kind of dancing in the park.
You went to Beijing?
Well, I went on my way to New Zealand. I stopped in Beijing.
You went to a park and
And
everyone was dancing.
Yeah, everyone was dancing. I mean, I was
Go to China, everyone's just dancing.
I'm just so happy to see you.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, the Gongbi style is very intricate in its finely detailed depiction of Chinese figures and scenery, as can be seen from the meticulous care and labor of
Those of you
Madame Lee's
listen,
work.
Gauranga's from France, so I just have to apologise.
Okay. So what, are we going to read the each text up until where we're at, or just...
Yeah, let's do a recap, see who was paying attention yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, so first text. So, I was thinking, is there any way to put these visuals so people could see?
Yeah.
The arrival of clouds, accompanied by thunder and flashes of lightning all over the sky, provides a picture of life-giving hope. Covered by deep bluish clouds, the sky appears artificially dressed. The thunder and lightning within the clouds are signs of hope for a new way of life. And you remember what the thunder, the clouds and the thunder represented?
Thunder was the mode of goodness.
The
Clouds
light,
of ignorance.
What was that, Ben? Speak up so they can hear you.
the light from the lightning. Yeah, that was sat. No goodness, and then
Yeah, that's what Gauranga just said.
not the thunder.
Or the clouds of ignorance.
Is it just because like clouds for us, like we think, oh no, it's going to rain, yeah? But in agricultural society, it's like, oh yes, like rain is like a real like pleasing thing, especially at this time after you just had like the summer season and you're like really hankering after the clouds to come.
That's described in the next one, isn't it? About the scorching sun.
Yeah.
It's saying like the absolute truth is like is compared to the sky.
Which first one? First
The
one.
first one, yeah, it's like
Oh
unlimitedly
yeah.
vast.
It's a good memory.
But then the clouds are like they just tend to cover it temporarily every now and then. So
And they
there's-
just carry it. They cover a tiny port. They can never cover the whole sky.
Yeah.
They can cover just a tiny portion of it.
So it was the whole sky was the Brahman, the absolute, and the limitless sky, and on that you have the clouds, which are ignorance, and then the thunder, which is passion, and lightning, which is goodness. That was it.
And it's saying like the clouds were like arguing with each other or something. Like the crackling of the clouds, like compared to like the arguing of the.
The conditions of false ego of I am this, I am that, this is mine, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, a living entity is as pure as the limitless sky. He becomes covered by the cloud of forgetfulness. However, in this tendency for enjoying the material world, because of this quality called tamas or ignorance, he considers himself different from the absolute whole and forgets his purity, which is like that of the clear sky. This forgetfulness gives rise to separation and false ego. So, the clouds are like ignorance, you forget your eternal spiritual identity, and then the forgetful living entity starts making sounds, which is like the thundering of the clouds, which is, I am this, it is ours, or it is mine. This mode of false separatism is called the quality of rajas, and it gives rise to creative force for separate lordship over the mode of tamas. Okay. Next text. Do you do the next text? Big Ben, do you want to do the next text?
The scorching heat of the sun evaporates water from the seas, rivers, lakes and reservoirs, and there is little water anywhere. The people become thirsty and always look overhead for rain, but in despair. Yet just at the right moment, torrents of rain begin to fall everywhere in the land, even on the hard stones, and the land becomes over-flooded.
You remember anything about that? We read this last night.
It was about taxes, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
the state.
I think Pete was the only one who paid attention to that.
Well, I have read this before, you know.
You got Baby Ben, give it the big one. Like, yeah, I read this for the people on the street, and I read this before.
No, so he's answering first.
Alright, Ben, you answer.
No.
Go on.
Well,
Sorry, Peter, go on.
no, go on,
I don't
Peter.
know.
I think I know. I don't know.
Go on then, Ben. No, go on. Give Ben a chance.
No, because he started it now, and
No, go on.
I don't know.
Okay.
Alright, sorry, Peter.
So I think it was like the state, the government, they extract taxes from the citizens, and that's like the scorching sun, like evaporating all the water, and then the citizens they might be like anxious, but the state should like send down like torrents of water and rain.
It's redistributed.
Yeah, redistribute the wealth. But
The government's meant to get taxes, and then redistribute those taxes to the people. So it's meant to work.
And there was
And
also
then they
like,
just take taxes and just
Spend
spend
it
it
on
on
like
themselves.
defense and
Although some of them, like, do you know, like sometimes, like when we say if we have to do something for the temple, we have to pay for parking, and then we submit that parking receipt, and it goes down as like expenses, like
Yeah.
So some of these members of parliament in the UK, their expenses were like, one of them was like building themselves a moat around their house, stuff like that, you know. So it's like, yeah, just shows the
fair enough.
So the clouds are meant to take water from different places and then redistribute it to the people. It's like the government is meant to properly take taxes but then redistribute it to people who need.
There's a point there as well about how because the government is run by the people which have a low level of God consciousness at the minute, that the way to improve the government is to actually increase the people's God consciousness altogether, and then naturally those people in government will be replaced with more suitable.
It says that. Sorry.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it says, therefore, good character is in the consciousness of the mass of people is the first principle necessary for a good government and equal distribution of wealth.
Yeah, especially like Srila Prabhupada said, democracy will work if the people have high consciousness, because then they'll. But if it's like he said, if it's all just animals, hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, they're just going to vote for a big animal to run them. These days, you elect a leader. Just, do you know what I mean, they come forward, they make some promises, they go on a campaign trail. And it's like a popularity contest, but there's no like, what qualities do you have to be a leader? You know what I mean? You need a license. You need a qualification to drive a car. You need a qualification to be a dentist. You need a qualification to do absolutely anything. To be a barrister, But to be the leader of a country, the only qualification you need is just to be voted by the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said before about and people understand, like the whole Brexit thing. Like whether Brexit was right or wrong doesn't really matter, but the fact is like people are unhappy because the people voted for it, but the people didn't know the ins and outs of the whole like geopolitical scene, and do you know what I mean? Like whether the outcome was right or wrong, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, like, if you give such like important decisions to the mass of people who are the least informed about it, then that just doesn't make sense. Like it's like the failings of a democracy type thing. Does that make sense?
Also, I remember speaking with my grandma about this point, because she was asking who am I going to vote for? I know these things when I was younger, like 18, when you first get there. And I used to always get confused because I swear, isn't it everyone just votes for the people that are going to give them the most sense like it was going to fulfill their sense gratification the most, because like that's what they're doing, is they're just presenting themselves. I'm going to give you the best life, like the politicians.
Yeah.
And then if they don't get that, then they just get distressed and they start striking, like schools and stuff. They lose like maybe £20 of their paycheck, and then everyone strikes and everything because they're not earning something to enjoy again. So
Ben's a teacher, so he knows about the ins and outs of the schools.
Oh yeah, for everyone listening, Ben.
It's been on strikes a few times.
No, I never strike.
We're lucky to have Mr. Clark.
No.
Mr. Clark. I striked in school a couple of times.
Oh.
You know when the Iraq War, and like literally the whole school, Alpha School, we all just left en masse.
All the students.
All the students, we disagree with this war.
Did you actually care?
I was like, I don't care, yeah, just want a day off.
Day off, yeah. That's why the teachers do it as well, I think. Just to get a day off.
Yeah, they take advantage. Isn't it?
Well, now that I'm, how old am I? 35, 36, 35. But because when you're little, you think, oh yeah, the teachers, oh yeah, they must know, this is a teacher, which should be respected. But you think, oh, they know something, like they have some knowledge. And now that I'm like the same age, if not older, than some of the teachers, not present company excluded, man. Because you're a devotee, No. But you realise that they don't know anything. They're just like me. Like they're just like, I know some of my friends are teachers now. You realise, they just one of them's an art teacher, and his art was absolutely crap. My cousin, who's he teaches in Alpha School, Mr. Charles. I don't think he'll listen to this, so it's okay. I like him, he's a real nice teacher. But you can get a degree in anything. Like he got a degree, but it wasn't in maths. And then he became a maths teacher. You know what I mean? You just have to be... You know what I mean? You just have to be like a little bit ahead. Like you can read the lesson, and as long as you're a little bit ahead of the students. Why am I talking about that now? Teachers,
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
I was saying about
As you
striking.
There is some nuance in the strikes though, because my mum's a teacher. She's been striking
Ooh,
recently.
here you go.
Did you offend her?
Well,
What'd she
she would say that because some people, basically the way it works is they're not an academy at their school, and
They're not what?
no, not an academy. So like legally they're defined as something else or something.
They're
like
not an
that.
academy at the school.
Yeah, they're like a sixth form. Academies have got a pay rise, but they haven't. But they do exactly the same job. So like, in that sense, it goes back to the first point where for some reason or another, it's not being wealth isn't being equally distributed through the system.
Because you get paid more as an academy.
Yeah, just for having like a slightly different setup in your school, they're getting paid more doing
What's an
essentially the
academy
same
though?
job.
What's an academy? Or schools an academy? Is it like a private school though? Or they have to.
No, I think like it's like a merge of schools or something like that. Like they come under this academy and it's like has different regulations or something to it, which I think maybe are better for the government. Like there's something to do with it might favour the government or something like that. So I don't know, it might be penalising them, but it's like I guess in that sense, there isn't really. What other option do they have at that point to strikers? You know, there's no one else offering them a solution in that sense, is there? Apart from Hare Krishnas.
Well, thank you for standing up for your mum.
In case you listen to this, you know, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Is it saying no one else offering the solution? They've got to strike themselves.
Well, that's part of the unions thing. You know, there's a collective
Yeah.
movement to try and.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I guess, when they were striking against the Iraq war, didn't really do anything, did it? Like,
Yeah, that's a bit of a different situation, isn't it?
In France, there's strikes every couple of minutes for anything. Everyone is striking.
France is rebellious, anyway.
Yeah, it's
Rebellious
culture.
group.
We always just want a little bit more, isn't it? Like we just want that little rise. Like what's the memory song?
Yeah.
They like 10%. I don't know. It's just like there's this always feeling that if we get a little bit more, we'll be fine. We'll be happy, and then we might get it, and it's just like makes no difference. It's just it wears off, and then the standard moves with the expectation.
Yeah, I think about how unsatisfied people are with the government, etc.
And also,
Like when Prabhupada came to the UK, he was like, actually, the government's. Well, this is in the 70s. He was like, the government's not that bad in terms of there's people starving in the world, We've got like a welfare state. Like if you don't have a job, then the government will give you money. You know what I mean? And like if you don't have a place to live, they'll give you a place to live. If you can't eat, you'll get arrange to get. You know what I mean? It's like.
So one of the main problem is people feel really entitled to get things more than they actually kind of deserve them.
Yeah. Alright. Anyway, put the world right to some degree.
Number 3.
Number 3. Number 3. Then.
Attracted by electricity throughout the sky and driven by forceful winds, clouds gradually cover the surface of the earth to satisfy.
You've had some forceful winds this morning. Sorry.
Clouds gradually cover the surface of the earth to satisfy the needy people by supplying water, which is the substance of their life. The clouds bestow rains upon man as the mercy of the Lord, who is always kind to the needy living being.
I don't really remember.
So I think we just talked. Didn't we just talk about what this verse was about in the last one?
Was this where I
When was the yogi?
What?
I thought it was about a yogi. Like, was that the last one? Like a yogi performing austerities and then becoming beautiful.
That's the
No.
that's the one with
one
the
I read
lash.
on the street.
Yeah, that's
number
number
4.
4. Number 4.
That's a really
That's
good
the one
verse.
with a nice cascade.
Does this one mention like that we get like when we get like mercy or something from then we get used to it or something, or we get is that this one? I can't remember.
I mean,
Oh no, it talks about the salty water and the earth, like how nature is like a complete working system, and the clouds, everything's set up in a perfect mechanic.
they're like, despite our gross disobedience to the laws of God's nature, the Lord is kind enough to look after our maintenance. Water is one of the most important items for our maintenance. Because without water, we can neither produce food, grains, nor quench our thirst. So water is also required very liberally for many other purposes. So the Lord has preserved water on 3/4 of the globe and has made it salty to preserve it. Like salt is a natural preservative. Salty water does not decompose, and that is the arrangement of providence. The Lord has engaged the powerful sun to evaporate the water of planets like Earth and distill it into clear water in the clouds and then stock it in the peaks of mountains, as we stock water in overhead tanks for later distribution. Part of the water stock of water is refrigerated into ice, and people think, oh, this is just a happy coincidence, like, you know. You have water, and then there's a natural sort of purification system that happens, where I guess you distill, and then it moves as clouds, and it gets redistributed as fresh water. We just think, oh yeah, that's just not only if you take like, if you take pure evolution is like the insane amount of like, happy accidents that have happened one after another that mathematically are impossible. But along with that, to evolve a little species, you've also got the whole sort of environment and ecosystem is by chance, by like complete fluke, perfectly catered in order to look after us.
Just thinking of the vastness of the universe and how it all is working like clockwork, like the scale of it, and how it's all working perfectly. It's just astonishing to meditate on. And, you just think, how could that be? How could that be from chance? How could that be from a random explosion? The vastness of the universe works perfectly.
I remember, like when I was in school, they teach you, how rare life on Earth is, and they gives you like 3 main kind of conditions for life on Earth to be possible. So one is like, there must be activity within the Earth, like some like magma or like some volcanic activity type of thing, Then you have to have like a particular atmosphere, particular thickness of the atmosphere or whatever, And then it has to be at a particular distance of a star, like the sun. Mm-hmm. And you got all these like 3 conditions that are really kind of,
Yeah, and that's why they just have.
What are the chances,
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not just those 3 conditions. Yeah, we're talking about millions and millions of like finely tuned conditions. Like that's how people believe it. Like you go to school and they just paint this picture. Like, oh yeah, you just got to have, as long as there's magma in the earth, a nice whatever those 3 conditions. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's rare, but that's how. But no, we're talking like. Do you know what I mean? Like even the way it all works, like the like laws of physics. Do you know what I mean? Like everything is so like finely tuned that if anything was a little bit off, then we'd all die, or life never would have come in the first place.
I guess this is kind of how they condition you. Like I learned that when I was like 12 or something, and it's been in my mind since then. Oh yeah, so this is what it is,
Yeah, if that's what it takes, then do the Anyway, don't start me
Next text was. This is
Go on, this is your favourite pen. You can do it if you're ready.
It's got a very nice picture. I'll put the pictures in the description.
Yeah.
A beautiful waterfall. After heavy rain showers, the fields and forests in all directions appear green and healthy. Thus they resemble a man who has undergone severe austerities for some material gain and has achieved his end. For such a man is strong, hearty and good looking.
Can you explain this?
Don't explain.
No, I don't.
That's why you got Baby Ben, Mr. Clark here.
Yeah, Baby Ben, Mr. Clark.
That's why he's so good looking. He's been performing these austerities in Sankirtan. Go on. Do you want to explain
Can I read one nice part?
Yeah.
Even though we may be able to avoid distress and artificially enjoy some material happiness by temporary achievements, this represents no factual gain in life. Our duty is to achieve permanent happiness and eternal life, and it is for that purpose only, for the ultimate gain, that we should undertake all sorts of penances and austerities. This ultimate gain is possible to achieve in the human form of life, Permanent happiness is possible when one is free from material sources of happiness, but continuation of material bondage means continuation of the threefold miseries. Human life is meant for ending these miseries.
Go on, paraphrase that.
That's not very good at paraphrasing.
I was daydreaming then, I wasn't listening to any of that.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, like, the sense that permanent happiness is possible when one is free from material sources of happiness. Like what? Like why?
That's interesting, isn't it?
Like why can't these little material happinesses, over time, why can't they like constitute to a longer sense of happiness?
And once you're free from material sources of happiness, then you have real eternal happiness.
Permanent happiness. Which is just
Which means like these
experience.
material sources of happiness are not
They're not
real
sources.
sources of happiness. Yeah.
And they're not sources of happiness.
It's a trap, it's a trick, it's an illusion.
Like you always say to people like about the Premier Leagues of happiness, isn't it, on Sankirtan?
Use football examples, isn't it? Another thing about Mr. Clark is that he's also used to play for Bristol City Football Club.
Really? Wow, he did it all, like frisbee, you know.
You used to play frisbee as well, did you?
No.
He used to teach
Netball.
frisbee.
Netball, like
Because to look at him, you wouldn't have thought he was a teacher or a professional frisbee player.
He
But,
dances like Michael Jackson.
oh yeah, he was also on Britain's Got Talent,
you like
weren't you?
having a famous YouTube channel or something, like traveling the world.
Yeah, type in Ben
No.
Clark
Travel coach.
dancing, is it?
Yeah, you can type that, but you won't get a good representation of myself.
How do we get a good representation?
I don't know. I don't know.
Listen to this podcast.
Yeah, listen to this.
Any
Anyway, if you do see Ben Clark on the street, if you say to him, Hare Krishna, then he'll do a Michael Jackson dance for you.
Yeah, I will.
He will, yeah, he will.
I did actually in Rath Yatra, my
Gotta
first
remember.
Rath Yatra. I don't know why I did this, but like you know where everyone's getting into the chanting.
Yeah.
I like pushed my way through into the middle,
Yeah.
and then there was a big circle, and I just did the worm. And everyone around me, all the devotees, looked at me like, "Who the hell is this guy?" You know, like, what is he doing?
Cardiff?
No, in London.
London.
My first Rath Yatra in London. I was like, "Yeah, let's do the worm," you know. And my dhoti and kurta like completely covered in like wet mud because it was raining and stuff. Such a weird experience. Like that was happiness, spiritual happiness, because there was devotees, but the pride of being centre of attention was temporary happiness.
It's deep.
Okay, anyway.
Thank you, man. Chapter 6. Text 6. This is the one. This is
Miss
where
five or
we're ripping through.
You're
number
five.
five?
What about number 5?
Five is
sorry.
really good. It's about glowworms.
Sorry. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Glowworms.
Don't see number 5. Peter?
The evening in the rainy season is dark all around. There is no sight of the twinkling stars on the horizon or the pleasing moon. They are covered by clouds, and the insignificant glowworms become prominent in the absence of the luminaries in the open sky. So,
So like it was... Oh, sorry, no, man.
The glowworms being representatives of sort of mental speculations.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, you might have like...
incarnations, false incarnations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like without the presence of... Was it Krishna or the Vedic literatures? Then these people who talk like, like online you see it, isn't it? Some people might be like really famous as like philosophers, or you gotta listen to this lifestyle guru, and they talk and they get some fame, but they're like glowworms that offer some like paltry type of light, but when the sun has risen, then you don't even notice them. So simply when the true sort of spiritual knowledge of the Bhagavatam and Krishna is actually manifest, and all these other people you don't even notice them. They just, at least, you can say at least pale in comparison, you know what I mean? To real.
It's interesting. You can see like the worshipping propensity in everyone with like celebrities and stuff. It might not seem like religious, but people worship celebrities like they might, like they could redirect their worship towards God, but it's like
Yeah, they get like like in football matches, isn't it, Ben? Get together, congregation, all wear the uniform, wear the colours, congregationally chant, perform Sankirtan, chant the names of your club, the holy names of the worshipful deity,
yeah.
Chelsea, 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 you know what I mean? Perform Sankirtan with the holy names. Do you know what I mean? Like,
people love it.
and then you read everything to do with the club and everything to do with your favourite player.
Yeah.
You know, hearing and chanting. Do you know what I mean? If you can just do all that for Krishna, then you become self-realised. You know? So people do all that, you know.
It's like the propensity to get absorbed in something, isn't it? Like put your life and soul into something. Like when I played football, then I actually it doesn't give you satisfaction, but you do get absorbed in it.
Because you and Pally was on the Girls podcast, right? You did the same course in the same university.
Yeah.
Because both of you wanted to play football for Bristol.
So that we could get the kit.
Obviously, you for the boys, here for the girls. But both of them, they were saying the thing like was really like enticing about the thing is that you get to wear the tracksuit.
Yeah.
You get to wear the official Bristol Football Club trackie.
Yeah.
You know, and then you walk to school and you feel really proud. Like, yeah, I'm wearing the official tracksuit. Everyone's going to look at me and know that I'm to do with the football club. Like, yeah. Like honestly, like speaking from, I don't know if anyone else thinks, but like from someone who's grown up in Swansea, lives in Cardiff, no one else cares about Bristol football. You know what I mean? Like, it's only people who live in Bristol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is though, that like that feeling there.
Sorry, everyone in Bristol.
Of wearing the tracksuit and like walking around and you know, like there were so many times.
In Bristol, it's a big deal. I guess,
yeah, there were so many times I would walk around and I would keep my tracksuit on unnecessarily. Like say I've just gone to training, had a whole day of something, gone back home, and then I go to the shop. There was times where I got unchanged into something else, and then to go back out into the shop, I would put on the tracksuit just to like prove my point. And then when I became a teacher and I had my badge, you don't have to wear your badge outside of work.
Like teaching badge.
Yeah, like where it's got the name of the school, all your little badges on there, like, you know, good work, keep it up, like this. I would go to the Sainsbury's.
Keep it up.
I don't know what I'm
As a
about.
teacher,
No,
you get those badges.
like you know, to inspire kids and stuff, like these little positive badges.
Sure
and I would go to Sainsbury's to do my shopping, and then like sometimes I would just make sure that my badge.
We value Sainsbury's just as other major supermarkets, like Tesco's and Asda, by the way.
Yeah, it was just the closest one. And then like I would turn my badge so it was facing the person I was getting served by. Just so they could be like, like, you know,
you're a teacher.
You're a teacher. Wow, you know, like that's what happens, you know, and when you get in some position and you just try and get recognised for it.
Probably thought you'd been on strike recently.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's just the amount of times it happened. So it went from trying to be a footballer to then now a teacher, and still subtly now, even when you're a monk, you know, you walk into shops and stuff like in your dhoti and your tilak, and you're just like, yeah, you know, like I'm a monk, you know, come on, respect me, you know, like, and I'm really bad for it because I go into all the coffee shops and ask for like free hot chocolates all the time, you know, and it's because I feel entitled because of my position. Like yesterday, I got 2 spicy chili little chocolate pieces from Hotel Chocolat
for free for being a monk.
Because I just said, you know, yeah, I'm a monk, and
you weren't even dressed in your monk clothes.
Well, yeah, okay, that's yeah.
The aura.
But it is quite interesting. Like we had one devote. So like here, like a lot of the time we used to like if we would do food for life, like if we give food out to people, or even going out on book distribution. Sometimes we wouldn't dress in like our robes. Yeah, because it might put people off. You know, people, it's religious. So, but we had one travelling sannyasi come from India to here to Wales, and it was his first time in the UK, in the West, I think. And we had one of our devotees, Steve Phillips, and he was in a saffron cloth, and then he went to get changed, and he had his Food for Life T-shirt, and we didn't think anything of it. But then his name was Prabhupada Saraswati Maharaj. He looked, he said, "What are you doing? What are you dressed like that for?" And I said, "I'm just going out on Food for Life." And he was like really shocked. He said, "If this was India and they saw you 1 minute wearing saffron cloth and the next minute not," he said, "they will hate you." You know, because in India you get like, and you see it as you walk in, you get loads of respect, or you were meant to, maybe not so much anymore in some place, but you get the people respect you for wearing saffron cloth. They think, "Oh, you are a sadhu." Do you know what I mean? Here in the UK, they don't really give a, you know what I mean? Like, you know, what are you wearing? Like, you know what I mean? So like here it's like, oh yeah, it's not, you know, if anything, like sometimes it can be embarrassing, like, you know.
Yeah.
In India, it's like a great sense of pride. Like, okay, I mean, people know what that means. Like, you're not normal person on the street will know what that means. It means like, wow, this person's very saintly. Do you know what I mean? Also, yeah, like Sri Ramswamy was speaking to one of the heads of the Catholic Church in Hungary, and he was saying, if I go out now dressed as a priest, then people will just call me paedophile. You know what I mean? So it's like, but in India still it has some, like, people really respect it, and that's why we're talking about like these glowworms of people who pretend to be incarnations. And, you know, in India you can get, there's loads of people who'd say that they are God, like, you know. And you also get, like, if you're like, you don't see like homeless people in India. If they just honestly look homeless, it means they're honest to some degree, because a lot of homeless people, they'll think, okay, well, I'm just going to wear some saffron cloth, pretend I'm a sadhu, and just, you know, and just sit on the side of the street, and then people will give me money, like, you know. You're like a professional homeless person, you just pretend you're like a sannyasi or something. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, and it's a professional thing. Sometimes they pretend they're sannyasis, and then behind the scenes they go off and like just have sex with women and take loads of drugs and stuff, you know. And then they wear their... Rahini used to know a businessman in Russia who was like, all day he'd wear his suit and he'd be like very wealthy, and then in the evenings he'd go home, wear like a you know, like a homeless outfit, like look really rough, mess his hair up, and then in the evenings just go and sit on the street, and then he'd earn loads of money like that, you know. That was like his part-time hustle. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I hope I never end up like that. Well,
Quite a career changer.
yeah. From going from getting my hot chocolates to now, like...
Well, it starts with hot chocolates, isn't it? And it leads to... chocolate is a gateway drug. Like.
Yeah, I can... I definitely agree with that, yeah. It's very addictive, hot chocolate.
No, I think it's good that you wear devotional cloth in the West, you know. It's good. Because people look at it, people think, oh, it's a devotee. It's a Hare Krishna. People say that, because now people look at us and they say, are you Buddhist? You know? It wasn't like that in the 70s and 80s. You know, they'd say, oh, Hare Krishna. It's a Hare Krishna. You know? Now people think we're Buddhists. Because there's not devotees, you know, devotees don't do Harinam as much anymore. And in Cardiff Bay, they see all the devotees. They're like, oh yeah, I see you guys walking around. What is that? You know, some kids are asking up there chanting. They've got devotees that live all around there and stuff. You know, it's starting to be like, you know, if I go for a little jack walk, always bump into a devotee. You know, like
was it me and you yesterday or the other day, Peter, when the old lady, or was it someone else? I think it's the old lady outside in Butte Town. And she asked, maybe it's not you, she comes up and she said, she's very Welsh, I can't do it, but she said, can I ask one thing? She goes, what is it you guys have in your hands when you're walking around?
It wasn't
And I said, it's my it was Jack, it's my chanting beads. And she said, what is it? Jack goes, chanting beads, we chant mantras, so we count every time we're chanting. And he pulled the mantra, she was like, oh, that's massive, like really, you know, like, really excited.
Wait, he pulled the beads out, just so everyone's listening.
Like,
just so everyone's listening, he pulled the beads out of his bag, and she said those beads were massive.
She explained,
right? Is that what you said?
She was explaining, like she wasn't expecting them to be in there, you know.
Yeah.
And then anyway, okay, Krishna, Hare Krishna.
But yeah, I wonder what people think. Like Tarkanap, he was out chanting, because we hold our beads in a bead bag, isn't it? You have the fingers sticking out, and it's like in the West it doesn't look, you know. And someone was chanting for us, and he's like, and so some guy walked past. It was like a farmer, so he like sends dogs, and I think he must catches ferrets or something, you know. So it shows like what's in your consciousness you project out to the world. He says to Tarkanap, what kind of ferret you got in that bag, then? You know? You thought Tarkanap had like a little ferret in there, you know.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I wonder what people think. Right, and we've got one more text left, is there?
Yeah.
Number 6. We wanted to do 12 texts today, didn't we? But we've got recap for the podcast. We recapped what we read last night. So
Yeah.
go then. 6, Gauranga.
On hearing the sound of the torch.
English, please, Gauranga, please.
On hearing the sound of the torrential rains, the frogs come out of the mountain caves and begin to chant like brahmacharis who chant the Vedic hymns by the order of the spiritual master.
This was the last one we read. I mean, what I liked about this one was when Prabhupada, he did a call to arms almost, didn't he, of all religions. He said whether you're Hindus, Muslims, Christians, or any member of any bona fide religion, you know, because the world is, you know, so materialistic, it's now time for all bona fide spiritualist religions, from any school, to come out of your temples, come out of your caves, and start singing the glories of the Lord and start helping people.
Yeah.
He's calling for a league of devotees of the Lord's, which includes all religious people.
Is that the kind of thing that we might, because the prophecy is there that the holy name will spread to every town and village, but is that something that would be included in that then, that people might keep their outward faith but still band together in a league of sorts?
Yeah, I mean, Srila Prabhupada said, if we ruled government or ruled the world, he said we wouldn't get people to change their religion, to just make sure they're practicing their religions properly.
Yeah.
He said, but my understanding is the holy name in in Chaitanya Bhagavata, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Vedic literature, when it says the holy name or Harinam, it means actually the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Right.
And there's little appendices in Avraj Mahima to back that up, So I think it means the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in every town and village in the world.
Yeah.
Like, hallowed be thy name. The holy name is, Okay, everyone. So that was our first 6 verses of the Light of the Bhagavata. How are you going to put the pictures on there, Peter, for people to see? Paintings.
I'd just find a way, like I could put it on the Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
Or just include a little link.
Yeah.
I'll find a way.
Oh, yeah, I see. Put it on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This has been the travelling team. We'll do another podcast in a few days, hopefully.
Sure.
Okay, now there's some toast. French toast from Gauranga.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta